Gospel according to St. Luke, the 18th chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Then Jesus told them about a parable about their need to pray and always not to lose heart. He said, in a certain city, there was a judge who neither feared God nor had respect for the people. In that city there was a widow who kept coming to him and saying, "Grant me justice against my opponent." For a while he refused, but later he said to himself, "Though I have no fear of God and no respect for anyone, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will grant her justice, so that she may not wear me out by continually coming." And the Lord said, "Listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God grant justice to his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? Will he delay long in helping them? I tell you, he will quickly grant justice to them. And yet, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?" This is the gospel of our Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Please be seated. My yellow lab, Duke, has developed a habit. It is a very bad habit, in my opinion. He has always reminded me, kind of like a teenager in the morning. Duke, my dog, likes to sleep in. You can get up, you can make noise, you can make coffee, you can shuffle around, and this big yellow-white bratwurst of a body just rolls over to the other side, takes a deep breath, and then goes back to sleep as if he's ready to say, "I'm just not ready to get up yet." You know, he used to eventually get up and come toward the kitchen and just make eye contact and just stare at you. And he wouldn't break that stare until you give him 3 milk-bone dog biscuits. You know, and then we got to 3 because he just simply wouldn't take no for an answer when I left it at 1 or 2. And you know, he's getting older now, and his patience has seemed to run out. And instead of staring at me until he gets his milk-bone dog biscuits, he now barks. And it's not just a small bark. It is a bark that will grate on your nerves. It is loud. It is shrill. It will hurt your ears. The cats run. They're afraid of it. And as soon as you hear that bark, your ears just hurt so bad. The immediate reaction is to quickly put your coffee down and grab that milk-bone dog biscuit. It's the peanut variety because you won't eat anything else. And if you let those bones hit the tabletop one at a time, just so he hears them, that's the only thing that will make this dog stop barking. You know, it seems very similar to the gospel reading that I just read to you. You know, there's a widow, and something has happened, something where she has fallen victim, and she is a widow. This is biblical times, so she has no one to advocate for her. She has herself. You know, it was not easy going through life without a husband back then. She had to quickly learn that she needed to speak up and take care of herself because she no longer had a spouse to help her. This was especially hard back then because so much daily activity was dependent on a husband to do. And you know, in many ways, I think we can identify with that widow. Whether we are living without our spouse and making our way in life in a different way that was not our choice, or we're facing a life situation where maybe we feel alone emotionally, or it's just something we don't want to share with others, so we struggle through our issue alone. We may know exactly what that widow is going through. She's facing a hardship. She was wronged. She is struggling. And she knows she has to face this alone. Sometimes life can be hard. But there is something different about facing a hard time with someone next to us. Isn't that true? Someone to travel through that tough time with us. And the widow doesn't have anything like that. She does the only thing she can do. She uses her voice. And not only that, but she uses her voice over and over again. She has no other resource but herself. And so she persists. She keeps knocking on the door of this judge to not only bring attention to her issue, but part of this is to annoy him until he finally stops and relents and lets go and finally helps her. And look at the attitude of this judge, church. Is this a God-fearing man? Does he care for justice whatsoever? No, not at all. Jesus tells us this judge, someone who is supposed to uphold the law, neither cares about God nor cares about the people that he serves. Apparently he's got a good job in government civil service, and that's that. And you know, it's as if to say, so what? What do you want? So this widow is bad off because she has lost the breadwinner for her and her family, the one who had all of the societal standing in life. She has no resources, and now she's up against a judge who is nothing but corrupt. You want to talk about injustice? Have you ever felt like that in your life? Felt like the deck of life was stacked against you when you're already facing a hardship? You know, we can identify with this widow and what she's up against life with. And you know, what does the judge say? This lady just doesn't stop. She's showing up at court every day. I really don't care about who she is or who she went through or what she went through. That's her problem. But she won't knock it off. I can't stand seeing her or hearing her anymore. I really don't want to move out of my own way on this. But if I don't settle her issue, she's just not going to give up. She is relentless. And so, ambivalent, not caring one way or the other, the judge grants her justice and settles her case for her. You know, sometimes going through life, we can feel like that widow. And you know, the funny thing is we may have all of our resources around us. We might have a spouse. We may have grown-up children who can help us. But we may be facing an issue in life that makes us feel like we're facing it all alone. You know, it's possible to be totally surrounded by people who care for us and yet still totally feel alone. And you know, even when we stand in our aloneness and look up to heaven, it's easy for us, just like that widow, to be angry, shaking our fist, frustrated, sad, depressed, even hopeless, wondering, well, where is God? Why don't you fix this, God? Give me justice, God. I just can't face this anymore. Haven't we all had moments like that? And you know, that's just what it is to be human. That's our struggle. But you know, I want you to take a minute. Now that we're in this sanctuary together, let's take a minute from that struggle of yours, and let's take a minute from that struggle of mine, and let the world be hushed while we gather in a place that almost reminds me of Bethlehem's stable stall. A cruel world outside, and yet in a very simple place and setting, the hope of the universe has come to live. Let us gather and have a moment of sanctuary for you and for me in the midst of whatever that struggle is that you and I face. Now, let us, you and I, think about the frustration of that widow and how we can identify with the anger of that slow and lazy judge, the injustice of life. And now let us, you and I, remember who's telling us this story. Who's narrating at St. Paul's? The baby of Bethlehem, all grown up. Jesus is narrating that story, talking about that poor widow who has to struggle and fight so hard to be heard, so hard to just get justice. And what does he say? Look at that lazy judge and what it took to get him off his lazy back backside and fix this woman's hardship, how much more will God grant justice than this lazy judge? So go back for a moment in your mind, if you would now, and I'll go back in my mind to that hardship that you and I just thought of, what you and I are facing in our lives. Have you ever stood up, looking at the sky, wondering, where is God? Where is his justice? Well, here he is, church, telling you a story of a judge who once lived and was lazy. And he's standing there himself, in contrast to that kind of judge, saying that he is right here with you. And he is bringing up the story of injustice precisely because he knows what injustice is for us. And he knows what it feels like for you and I. And he's telling us to know that he knows, church. And the while he's walking through this earthly life, he's walking through it to be unjustly hung up and nailed to a cross. To take all of our injustices away with him. To forgive us when we look up at him in anger and wonder where he is. And to die, and then to rise and not just break death, but on Easter, he rose not only that we can live forever, but to tell us that he is still working faithfully with our best in his mind. And that there is now, because of that cross, because of that empty tomb, there is now a date set. The clock is ticking. When those who have lived life as if God doesn't matter, as if right and wrong do not matter. A date set when those who have lived their life stepping on others all the way up will see God, who has just told us face to face that he knows what injustice is, and that this promise to send justice is set in his blood, shed for you and shed for me on that cross. Remember that when you come to receive Holy Communion, his body and blood, in just a moment. Amen.